Cameos. Cameos are a big thing in Tamil cinema at the moment. A lot of big films want to have big star-studded casts, but because of availability issues, because of budgetary issues, they're not able to have these big stars sometimes in the whole movie. So what they would do is that they will have them in a cameo slash extended cameo appearance, just so that it helps heighten the film's popularity or maybe help it in terms of the thematic story to move forward with their appearance in the movie. Now, obviously, because of Surya's popularity through his cameo appearances in such films like J-Beam and also in Vikram, the idea of cameos have become very, very popular in recent Tamil cinema history. So I wanted to do a list of some of the most memorable cameo appearances in recent Tamil cinema history before the whole popularity of it became huge nowadays. So I'm not going to include people that don't have dialogue in certain scenes in films where they make an appearance or before they became famous or where they're just a supporting actor in a film. I'm including people that were already in prominence by the time they made an appearance in the specific film that I'm highlighting here. So without further ado, here's a list of some of the most memorable Tamil cinema cameo appearances in recent Tamil cinema history. To start off this list, I want to go with one of my favorite cameos in recent Tamil cinema history, and that is Ajit Kumar's appearance in the film English Vinglish. Now, it's a very well-intentioned and very smartly done cameo appearance because he speaks from his own experiences in terms of learning a new language and not being shy anymore and being more confident in themselves while learning that new language. Shri Devi's character is trying to learn English in the film, and she meets Ajit Kumar in a plane ride to America. A very smartly done cameo appearance and a very beautifully well-intentioned and well-mannered one too, because it has a very beautiful message with this cameo appearance that Ajit Kumar does in the film. This is a very smart and very meta cameo appearance because Simbu plays his Menmadan character in the film Goa. Now, Sneha's character goes through this tumultuous and very bad relationship with Vaibhav's character, and by the end of the film, she meets a very mysterious individual who happens to be the Menmadan character from Simbu's famous film, Menmadan. And yeah, a very smart and very cool cameo appearance by Simbu, which ended up having a great connotation for him later on because he would end up working with Venkat Prabhu on one of his biggest blockbusters in his whole entire career, Maanadu. Another very meta cameo appearance, Ramya Krishnan appears in the movie Baba, and in the film, she plays the character that she played in Padayappa. She bumps into Rajinikanth and says that she reminds him of someone. I wonder who. Before Vijay became a huge star in Tamil cinema, he did an extended cameo appearance in the film Sukran. Now, this film was directed by his father, and he plays a character that is a lawyer in the movie and only really appears in the film from the midway point to the end of the film. In my personal opinion, this is a very bad movie, but Vijay did a pretty decent job of making this bad movie somewhat watchable. So in the movie Enakku Iruvadu Unakku Padanettu, Reema Sen makes a cameo appearance in the film where she meets Trisha's character in the movie. Now, ironically, at the time, I always got those two mixed up. They really look similar to each other, and they actually make a reference to that in this scene. So when Reema Sen and Trisha are in the same scene together, so I forget who it was, but someone mentions that they look like sisters. And yeah, it doesn't really do anything for the story, but it was kind of a cool, meta way of saying that, yeah, they kind of look like sisters, and we're going to mention that in this cameo scene. Not really a significant thing in terms of the story, but a nice way of having Reema Sen appear in Trisha's early film. Before Surya took the world by storm with his cameo appearances in such films like J-Beam and also in Vikram, he made a cameo appearance in the film Pasanga 2, which he also produced. Now, alongside him, Amalapal also makes a cameo appearance in the movie, and they both appear in the film for about, 15 to 20 minutes in the whole entire movie. Overall, solid performances and meaningful roles in a very nice film overall. And before Rajinikanth made his cameo appearance in the film Lal Salam, he made a cameo appearance in the movie Kuselan. Now in Kuselan, again, I think he's only in the movie for like 20-ish minutes overall. And yeah, the movie's not that great, but I feel like the meaningful ending where he meets Pasupati's character at the end of the film made the movie somewhat enjoyable to a certain extent. Again, overall, kind of a weak movie, but that one scene really made me emotional, and I think is pretty much the main reason why Rajinikanth even agreed to do this film in the first place. At first glance, it's kind of interesting to see Sarath Kumar in the movie Jitan. Now, Jitan starred Ramesh and also Pooja in the lead role, and was pretty much a smaller production, but Sarath Kumar agreed to do the film because Ramesh actually happened to be the son of R.B. Chowdhury, who is the owner of Super Good Films. Super Good Films produced many of Sajid Kumar's biggest hits in the 90s, and as a thank you to producing all those movies, he did this extended cameo in the movie. And it was a pretty significant character who appears pretty much from the middle of the film to the end of the movie. So it was a nice thank you and a nice way of giving back to the person that gave him confidence and gave him an opportunity back in the 90s. This was another case of a thank you cameo, as Dhanush agreed to do an extended cameo in the movie Seeden because the director of the film actually directed his early hit Tirda Tirdi. And because of all the adulation and success that he achieved with that film, Dhanush decided and wanted to do a cameo appearance in Seeden as a thank you to the director for helping him out early on in his career. In the movie Siva Manuskula Shakti and also Basangar Bhaskaran, there was a very interesting and very cool cameo exchange between two stars. So in SMS, Jiva was the lead star and Arya made a cameo appearance in the film, which is a very effective and very nice cameo appearance in the movie. And then Jiva appeared in one of the funniest cameo appearances in Basangar Bhaskaran. Both of the films were big hits, and it was a nice way to see two friends and two stars returning the favor for one another to help ensure that both of their films were successful and to kind of return the favor in goodwill and give each other a nice scene in each of their respective movies. This is a very cool and very meta cameo appearance by Laila in the movie Maunam Pesiyade. Now, before this film, both of the films that she starred in with Surya, Nanda and Unnai Ninithu, featured their characters being in love but not ending up with each other by the end of the story. Ironically, in this movie, Trisha's character is the one that Surya is in love with. He doesn't end up with her but ends up with Laila at the end of the film. So in a way, I think that director Amir purposely wanted both of these people to end up with each other, at least in one story. And sadly, this was the last time that Surya and Laila had worked together, but in a fictional sense, they end up together. So that was a nice way of finally having these two famous stars ending up together in a love story. 3 years into his career, Madhavan made a name for himself as the premier romantic hero in Tamil cinema. And Lesa Lesa was the first time he did an extended cameo in a film, alongside Trisha and also Sham. Now, this could have easily backfired for anyone else, but for Madhavan, it helped add into the allure as one of the top romantic heroes in the industry at the time. This is another meta cameo appearance because at the time, Aravinda Swamy was pretty much the go-to guy for Maniratnam. Pretty much every production except for Tirda Tirda after Talabadi, which was Aravinda Swamy's first film with Maniratnam, every single production till Alepayade had Aravinda Swamy in some sort of capacity. And Madhavan became the new go-to guy for Maniratnam after this film. And ironically, this was kind of like a passing of the torch of sorts, metaphorically, in terms of becoming the new muse for one of the greatest directors in Tamil cinema. So a kind of a cool passing of the torch cameo appearance from Aravinda Swamy in this film. Thematically, this is one of the most random cameo appearances that I've ever seen, but it kind of works. Simran's cameo appearance in this movie is very memorable. She does this really great dance number with Surya, and ironically, it's one of the biggest highlights in the whole movie and one of the funniest scenes in that decade. But when you look at the story, it's kind of random, but it worked. Kamal is no stranger to cameos as he's cameoed in many films, but for Partale Parvasam, this was actually K. Balachander's 100th film, and K. Balachander was obviously the mentor for Kamal, so he paid homage to him by doing a small cameo appearance in this film. And then in the movie Nella Tamendi, which starred Madhavan in the lead role, Kamal actually produced and wrote this film and actually makes a small cameo appearance with Jayaram at the end of the movie as well. In the film Meen Kurumbum Manpanyam, which actually happened to be Prabhu's 200th film he had ever done in his entire career, Kamal makes an appearance in the film as God, which is kind of ironic because he's an atheist and also his fans affectionately call him Andavar. Kind of a nice meta cameo appearance in this movie. Now, obviously, Samantha is not Samantha at the time of the release of VTV, but she makes a cameo appearance in the film as a love interest for Karthik, but he's still hung up on Jessie. And then in another GVM film, Nadanizinaihal, she plays a significant cameo appearance, even though she appears for just like 1 minute in the film, and she becomes a possible love interest for the psych ward patient at the end of the film when she locks eyes with that psych ward patient. So it was kind of nice for her mentor, GVM, to give her two nice opportunities in terms of cameo appearances early on in her career before really becoming a big star with the film Nidane and Ponvasalam in Tamil. And I cannot talk about cameos without talking about the king of cameos in Tamil cinema history, K.S. Ravi Kumar. Some of the funnest cameos you will ever see. YouTube them. he was smart in terms of making cameos in films.